Hi guys, best regards from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
Lepisto's winless streak has been broken by back-to-back victories in the last two rounds. This has allowed him to close the gap to current GTP points leader Iamaki. However, the GTO Championship finds Phil Lake leading the way without having stood on the top of the podium once this season. Can he finally win one at the classic track of Spa-Francorchamps? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 9 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Though our vehicles today were IMSA spec sports cars, they still feel like they'd fit right in here at Spa. To find out why, let's step in closer to learn a little bit more about this Belgian track. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round. They see some of the views around beautiful Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes forest, but Adam, there's no time for sightseeing for these drivers. They are going to be whipping through these trees at a high rate of knots.
They definitely will, Joe. iRacing Road Series and the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps name me more constant companions. These well-acquainted partners join forces again this week at the 4.35 mile or 7 kilometer 19-turn beast, accompanied by the Audi GTO and the Nissan GTP, two beasts in their own right. How each tackles this course will be quite different though. Expect the Nissan to soar up Eau Rouge and Rétillon and through the back half of the course, but to struggle at the bus stop chicane and La Source, as well as the bumpy double gauche. The Audis, though, will cope well, better through the latter half of the course as well, but the first half will challenge the front tires through high-speed, elevation-changing corners. Multi-class wise, it's the same as always. The Nissans must beware of Audis drifting wide through the corners, and the Audis need to beware of Nissans getting slow off of the corners and diving into the apexes. Expect traffic to both break up and create exciting battles today in Belgium, Joe.
I'm looking forward to it because this series always is a little bit frantic out there. Let's take a look at the championship situation, starting, of course, with the GTP. And up at the top of that, we've got Iamaki leading Lepisto by about 18 points. Now, they have stretched far away from both Jungbluth and Gerber. Gerber, usually the much higher up there, tends to be fighting for the championships, just hasn't been as present this season. And Iamaki, of course, does have that buffer, but we don't have the drop weeks quite coming into play as much yet, since we do have 4 rounds left, including today. Let's take a look at the GTO Championship as well.
Definitely. Phil Lake still leading the championship, as you said, without taking a win. Yoni Hagner there in second, tied with Dennis Neidhart. And then we have Franco Scurry and Jamie Hall. Now, here's an interesting thing, though, Joe. Out of all 5 drivers, only Dennis Neidhart and Franco Scurry are here today, which means that Dennis will likely assume the lead of the championship if he finishes the race today, with Franco Scurry gaining quite a bit of points as well.
We've also got a special championship we keep track of here in the Kamel series. This is the Milk Zoo GTO Championship. Just GTO drivers and just drivers from Italy are competing in this one, sponsored by Milk Zoo. Franco Scurry won last season, and he's looking like he might repeat because he's stretched far away from Joe Dorsha there back in second. Remigio de Pasqua a little ways behind, and then you look at Sassana and Nocera, and really this is Franco Scurry's championship to lose. What about the race details, though? We always have new viewers here, Adam, so let's familiarize them.
Definitely. This is quite a good race that we got going with this one right now. We have race round 9 of 12. It is a 40-minute race for these drivers, so we're not going to see pit stops today. And this is an open setup and an open series. If you'd like to race along with these guys, feel free to sign up before these races, and you'll likely get a spot in the broadcast. There's no spare car today, and they have 17 incidents before they receive a penalty. And at 25 incidents, poof, you're gone.
Well, they won't be poofing away, at least hopefully not here in the qualifying, but they do have to keep it on track, and thus far we're still waiting for the first drivers to set a time out here. It is the classic pits layout, so they will not get a time until after La Source. You'll have to watch for that. The finish line is after the hairpin. It usually starts the lap here in the modern times. And I'm watching Sebastian Mark in the... Oh, no, looks like we get Tobias Berger, one of the first ones. Tobias Gerber, rather, one of the first ones to get a time in. Jungbluth now, Laust Olsen coming across the line. The Audis will definitely have to hustle as well, Adam. From what I remember, they tend to barely squeak in that second lap.
Yeah, we have Dennis Neidhart coming around the corner right now, and looks like Justin Albrecht has managed to join us today, so that's good for him. But looks like he's racing in one of... Yes, I believe... He's racing in one of our... Yes, so Justin is racing in the GTP. That's good. I was concerned he was in the GTO for a moment. But looks like he's racing in the GTP. And yes, the Audis are going to be hard-pressed to get a second lap in. If they don't finish their first lap in the next 20 seconds, they're not going to have a chance.
And Neidhart currently at the top of that qualifying sheet for the GTOs, but that is a provisional pole. He could still be... toppled as we watch Schlacher come around to finish his lap, coming along the GP pits up towards the La Source hairpin. Let's see what he can do as he comes towards the line.
And Joe, it looks like he has some front left damage, possibly from hitting a curb, so it might not have given him an X, so he might still get this time in, but that just definitely is going to affect his straight line speed.
Yep, he did not get a time in. Unfortunately, Tobias Gerber, who has been bumped down to 5th since we last looked, already getting ready to finish this second lap around the La Source hairpin and down towards the start-finish line. The number 8 is going to try and get himself up there. Fabian, of course, usually the quicker of the two Gerbers, But right now, a 2:02.4 is going to keep him in 5th, but it's an improvement in time. His brother just getting ready to finish his.
And then we have Alex Mask coming across the line in the Audi GTO for his, wow, if he's starting his first lap, he's not going to get one in, so that's unfortunate for him. This is Laust Olsen coming across the line, and he did not improve, so he's going to stick around in 7th place. So quite a few drivers just managing to squeak in times. We got about a minute to go in qualifying.
And Fabian Gerber did not improve. Albrecht is already done with his 2 laps. So is Steve Bycroft. There's 2 of our very quick drivers. Schlacker tends to be at least up there, though usually not vying for pole, so he can still get around to finish this one, though it may be tight. Neidhart, we're getting ready to finish his 2nd lap, has already got a huge gap to the field, over a second. Really doesn't need to improve, but he does anyways by a whole 10th.
Yeah, when you don't have your championship contenders in a race near you, it can be very beneficial to your times, and he's definitely showing that right now. Joseph Erlbach coming across, and he does improve as well by about a 10th, almost 2 tenths. So Kitty Engstrom coming across the line, he also improves by 2 tenths. So the track getting quicker on these second runs.
And Schlacker, let's see where he puts himself as Letaniemi unfortunately falls to 3rd as Reed Miller jumps up to 2nd there in that class in the GTOs. There's Steph as the Austrian swings it down the hill towards the finish line. He has to get a clean one on this one, but he runs out of time. Ooh, well, that changes the game for him. Let's go through the starting grid. There's a few drivers that are going to have a headache at the start of the race. Justin Albrecht, not one of them. He's sitting on the pole with Fabian Gerber starting in P2 next to him. Then you've got Antti Lepisto, our 2nd place in the championship, starting P3 today. Steve Bycroft will be 4th, and Tobias Gerber, the other Gerber, will be starting in 5th. Kitty Engstrom, P6 for him with Fabian Jungbluth in 7th position. Laust Olsen in 8th is then followed by Pablo Suarez in 9th. Heitor Sintes Galindo rounds out your top 10. Martin Krejcik, 11th for him. You've got Guillermo Kramer in 12th place. Sebastian Mark starts P13. Stefan Schlacker and Mike Reuter did not get times, and they will start at the back of the GTP field.
Dennis Neidhart takes pole in the GTOs, and only 2 tenths behind is Esko Letaniemi, so expect to see those 2 battling it out, as well as Reed Miller, Mr. Consistency, there in 3rd. Franco Scurry, our leading Milk Zoo driver, is in 4th position, with Hideki Koivisto following in 5th. And we have Joseph Erlbach starting off 6th position alongside Johnny Bell, and then we have Alexandro Nocera and Fernando Frankenguel starting in the 7th and 8th positions, with Alex Maas in 9th, and Giulio Forcolin and Pedro Diaz round out your GTO field.
So not the largest field we've seen in this series, especially lately, as they've had some big ones, but still enough to give us lots of action. Glad to see that Letaniemi was able to gain a little bit of time on Dennis, because with a 2nd difference, I was actually questioning, Adam, on if we'd have a draft train with the leader on those GTOs like we normally do.
I mean, unless they blew it coming through La Source, I think that's, well, I mean, they're going to be starting, they're going to be starting probably on the start straight, the F1 start straight with these GTOs. So unless they blow La Source, I think they're going to be right there with Dennis, even with his impressive times. But it's coming down the hill where Dennis would likely pull away. So it's going to be good to see Esko getting in there and keeping Dennis company for the race.
All right, we've taken off for the rolling start behind the Porsche pace car. Albrecht will have control, though he's off a little bit late. He's going to pull back up. Now, there he goes. To get himself up to pace with Fabian Gerber. Of course, as I mentioned, Fabian Gerber not really attending as many rounds, though he can come back into this thing and try to get himself up because of the drop weeks. But really, with the fact that it's been mostly in favor of Iamaki and Lepisto, I'm not sure how likely that's going to be. They now come through the bus stop chicane. You can see we are not going to have the pace car peel in here, since it will start after the source. They're giving that pace car a wide berth, though. Albrecht well far back. They're allowed to do that. You can choose as the leader how far behind you want to stay. Wonder if he's using that with the hairpin, knowing that he wants to try and get himself a good launch off of there. Let's see what he does. as he's around the corner. Nope, he's going to wait. He's going to make sure they check up. Now he goes just as they get to the back of him. Green flag is out here for round 9. That means they string out to mostly single file at the front of the pack. Not so back there, as you can see. Most of them now finally getting in line as they head through Eau Rouge and Radion. And it's all clean through the Nissan GTPs. Let's go to the GTOs.
Esko Letaniemi got a great start on Dennis Neidhart and is able to pull him as they go through Eau Rouge and Radion as well. So that's going to be good for him. But now he's got Dennis Neidhart in the tow as well as Reed Miller. So that's going to be a challenge as they come up to the first corner. This is going to be a tight battle, Joe. They're in the draft.
Taking a look, we did have a lead change up in the GTPs. Gerber got ahead of Albrecht, but no change there between Neidhart and Letaniemi. They stay Esko in first, Dennis in second. A little bit of battling. Oh, someone goes around at the back of the GTPs. That's Mark and Reuter who got together.
And Pablo Suarez is also slow, so a couple of drivers who are struggling right now, but they're... Oh no, Tobias Gerber has gone off track.
And Engstrom. That was down through Puhan. It looks like Engstrom's able to get it going before the GTOs get there, but not sure that the others had as much luck. Letaniemi, though, as we go to the leaders, is way wide out of Puhan. Neidhart had a peak, but couldn't do anything with it.
That's going to bring Reed Miller back into the picture as they get to Lafagni's, and here he comes. He's just being super consistent right there, and look at his lines are quite good, but Dennis and Esko are battling tooth and nail right now.
Dennis really wants that top spot back. He's all over the back of him right now as they come around through the double apexer, Stavlo 1 and 2. Out of the corner, blasting up towards Blanchimont. Neidhart's going to have a good slipstream, but how daring does he want to be there? Definitely not flat out through Blanchimont. He's going to get a little bit pinched as Esko tries to cover him off, but he can't quite. He backs out of it by the time they hit this swift left-hander.
Esko's able to keep his car in check and force Dennis in order to have to lift as they approach the bus stop because chicane. Dennis is in no position to try and make a pass. That's going to be unfortunate for him. Reed Miller quite a ways behind at this point, so he's not really going to be able to challenge for the lead, but the lead for the GTP is still very close between Fabian and Justin Albrecht. They're going up through the straight right now.
Old rivals in this series, and Albrecht is used to racing with Fabian. He's got the inside, and it looks like he's going to make a textbook maneuver to take the lead away from Fabian Gerber. Don't need to go to it, but Engstrom has taken it into pits because of excessive damage on that Nissan.
And now we have a battle for the lead in the GTOs with Dennis Neidhart and Esko Letaniemi. They're going up the straight now, and with the draft that the Audis get, Dennis is going to be able to try something here, but it might be a little bit too early. He pulls out, and this is before they get halfway down the straight, so he doesn't have quite enough speed. Esko could outbrake him into the corner. Let's see what happens.
Whoa! And Dennis Neidhart, brave on the brakes, taking it around the outside. The number 5 is back up to the front. Interestingly, Reed Miller got overtaken by Franco Scurry, so our leader in the Milk Suit Championship now finds himself on the podium.
Franco Scurry has a really good opportunity for, I believe, what would possibly, I think he's already got one win, but it might be his second if he can get up to the back of Esko Letaniemi. And if Letaniemi can stay on the back of Dennis Neidhart, we could see these three battling it for the win.
Ooh, we had a problem with Stefan Schlacker. I think he had a bit of a spin coming through Fanyes.
Major damage on the right side.
Yeah, he got hit by Sintez Guindo. Let's take a look at the replay. Let's get the TV view at first, and then Sintez Guindo is the one that ran into him, so let's get an onboard with him on the next shot here. But there's the 14 of Stefan Schlacker. He's doing fine, and this starts as a single car incident, but unfortunately, Aitor just couldn't react in time. It's coming down through Puhan. He's already looking a little shaky. There was a bobble there out of Puhan. Ooh, you see the rear come around. Oh.
Ooh, yeah, it looks like he got a little bit loose coming into the corner completely. And Esko didn't look like he checked up that much. Thought that Steph was going to keep going, but Stefan did not, and that ended up collecting Stefan Schlacker, so he's quite a bit off pace now.
Oh, yeah, and I think you're right. I think he thought he's going to keep spinning off to the right, and the track would clear itself. But wasn't meant to be as we come back live. Now, interesting note, Dennis Neidhart has now pulled 1.7 seconds over Esko. I wonder if he's broken this draft.
Oh, he definitely has. You need about to be within about 1.2 seconds, even for a light draft for these Audi GTOs. So Dennis is out free right now, and Franco Scurry's not even in a position to draft off of Dennis. So Reed Miller's the first car really to be able to Franco is in line because Esko Letanimi just blew the corner a little bit, so that's going to be difficult for him.
Yeah, that slowed him up a lot. It's about 2.5 seconds now up to Neidhart. And change for position for fifth as Moss manages to sneak himself up into there past Erlbach. So put Erlbach back in P6 while Hideki Koivisto watches behind them. Watching from Moss's rear wing, looking through. I can't figure out what in the world that pipe goes to every time we see this camera shot.
I believe it has something to do with the turbo, but I'm not exactly sure myself, Joe. But it's a beautiful shot nonetheless. And these battles in the GTO, I mean, with the exception of Dennis Neidhart, who's pulled up to a 3-second lead, these battles are very close. And once we get the GTPs intermixed within these cars, I think we're going to see some of the GTP battles heat up as well.
Yeah, those are mostly spread apart. Albrecht's actually pulled away from Gerber by 2.5 seconds. So really, the action is down here with the GTOs, especially for this second place. Letanimi starting to get a bit of a train backing up behind him. Look at this. Scurry, Miller, Moss is in there, Erlbach as well. This essentially goes back to 6th place.
It does, and once we hit these straights, I think it's going to become very apparent to Esko Letanimi that he is not out of the woods at all. Franco Scurry is going to be able to close up to the back of him. Reed Miller is quite a bit closer to Franco Scurry as well, so very consistent drives from all of these drivers. Very good job to just stay in the draft because that is what's going to get you speed around here.
Looks like they'll be quite close enough as they come down into the braking for the bus stop. They will accordion together through here. A little bit wide for Franco Scurry though. And that's going to give a whiff of an opportunity to Reed Miller. That's a great exit out of the chicane up to La Source. Is this going to be something he tries for? Nope, he decides it's not worth the dive this early in the race. Still within the first 10 minutes here. He'll get a better opportunity, perhaps, if he can get the run over the hill off of Radion.
Franco Scurry got a great run out of La Source, and he's now catching up to the back of Esko Letanimi. So Reed Miller's going to be troubled to try and catch the back of it, but Reed gets a really good run through Arouge and Radion. And look at that, Franco Scurry just pulling away on the gas. So interesting, different setups, producing different results over these twisty corners.
Yeah, certainly a few ways that these drivers can tweak these cars. Ooh, and good on the brakes for Franco Scurry, closing down on Letanimi. So almost looks like Esko is a little bit stronger in the second half of the course, while Franco seems to close here in this portion.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. That's where Dennis Neidhart has made all of his time, up to 4.2 seconds now ahead of this pack. So Dennis doing an amazing job. We're going to go on board with Franco Scurry and see how he's handling this difficult downhill portion. This is the hardest part to drive in the Audis.
I have to imagine, especially with that new steered experiences, downhill plunge here through Pouhon. He swings it in there, car sliding quite a bit, but he holds on to it. Certainly is a little slow. We can't see it in his mirrors here in the onboard, but Reed Miller gains a little bit more of that time and cuts it down to 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, Reed is very close behind these two, and Franco Scurry, yeah, he seems to be losing a lot of time through the corner, so it's possible that either he's got a brake bias, his brake bias is in a bad spot for him. Either that, or my guess is that he's got a little bit more four-wheel drive put into that car, because you can adjust where the drive is coming from between the rear and the front axles, and so he might have more four-wheel drive, which gets him really good speed off the corner, but makes you struggle significantly with understeer through the corners.
Out and through Blanchimont, way off course there for Alex Moss in the background, but it's paved off of there, so he is able to continue on for another day. Again, though, they do have a DQ limit and a penalty limit here today, so you don't really use it too much.
Yeah, we know the stories about the DQs that can happen from incidents when it comes to Spa. It's one of those difficult things, but here's Alex Moss, the back of this four-car train, and he's looking towards the back of Reed Miller as they start to head towards Eau Rouge and Radion.
Now officially 10 minutes into this race, who's going to be able to take it through this infamous corner. the best. They're about even with one another.
Joseph Earlbach's being challenged by is challenging Hideki Koivisto right now as they go up the straight, and Hideki trying to decide where to block right now, and Joseph Earlbach's able to get to the outside, but that's not the best opportunity for him. And as they go into the braking zone, Hideki Koivisto outbrakes Joseph and parks it on the apex. Joseph having to brake significantly more into the corner, but Hideki looks like he's struggling.
We took a little bit of a look to try and get back through there through Malmedy, but it didn't work. Also, just as we cut away, Moss and Reed Miller swap positions, so Alex now up to 4th position. Let's take a look at the replay of that pass. Very similar situation to what we saw between Koivisto and Earlbach. Just got himself a good run. Put up a bit of a fight, though, coming into Lacombe.
Yeah, quite a good fight, but Reed knew that the corner was Alex's, and I think he was expecting Alex to go through a little bit quicker than that, so that's why he didn't turn in quite as early. So Alex Moss and for Reed Miller, Reed just playing the safe game, but it has broken up this fight between Alex Moss and Franco Scurry is about 1 second, and then Franco Scurry to Esko Letaniemi is now up to 1.2 seconds, so Franco's lost Esko's draft at this point.
Yeah, I think all that fighting amongst them has spread things apart a little bit. Now, going back to our leader in the GTPs, Justin Albrecht is starting to approach the back of our pack in the GTO. So this is where it'll start to get frantic, and this is where that 3.2 second lead he's pulled over Gerber can come in handy. Hopefully he can take his time to try and pick his way through safely.
Yeah, he will likely catch this pack as they start probably by the time they get onto the Kamel Straight. So this is going to be a challenge for Justin. He's going to catch him earlier than that, Joe. This could be trouble for Justin if he catches them through Eau Rouge and Radion.
I think he might be able to get by before La Source here. You can see that is Frankenmuhl as well as Johnny Bell just ahead of him. He's going to get Fernand just at least 1, maybe 2. He's going to send it in deep, and Johnny Bell is going to give him space, so that clears him up, and that means he will have a nice open run through Eau Rouge.
I can report that Stefan Schlacker, his car was not handling well. He hit the wall again, and he's in the pits, so as Justin goes by, Steph's going to fall down a lap, and I believe with the amount of damage he has, he's out of the race.
That did hold up Gerber slightly. He got caught behind the 2 Audis just as they went through Eau Rouge. As we check out to see where he is, yes indeed, he lost about a second just from that. It's now up to 4.3 now behind the number 3 car. We ride on board with him.
Yeah, and this, how you navigate traffic is going to determine how big the gaps are for you in the GTPs, because the GTPs could lose a significant amount of time around this track. This is one of the fastest tracks for the GTPs to drive. And if they get held up behind those Audis, they're in big trouble when it comes to lap time.
Albrecht losing a little bit back himself, and actually Albrecht had to go completely off course, and now here on Gerber, he's having to really pick his way through down through Pruhan as well. Let's take a look at Justin Albrecht's replay here. He made the right decision, I'd say, Adam, but had to have been scary from inside the cockpit.
Yeah, this is one of the things you have to be committed to doing if you're driving one of these faster cars in a multi-class scenario. You have to be committed to being able to go off track if you need to. He gets pushed off wide and decides to just take the time off track to get by. That's absolutely the right call, and he didn't lose much time doing it at all.
So far, so good. He's kept that roughly 3.5 second lead over Fabian Gerber. So the traffic has really been just about even between them as far as costing them time. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for 7th in the prototypes. Martin Krajcik leading Sintez Guindo, who are also dealing with this GTO traffic.
Yeah, they definitely are, and we have quite a few battles on track right now as well. these two have been battling for a couple of laps now. We actually have a pass going on for second place in the Audi GTOs. This is between Franco Scurry and Esko Letaniemi. Franco Scurry looking for any way by, but he's not able to find it, as we also have a pass going on between Reed Miller and Alex Moss in the background. So these guys are all swapping positions, as we're seeing it all on screen right now. And Franco getting held up significantly behind Letaniemi, who parks it on the apex. Franco Scurry hitting the brakes through those corners a lot more than he would expect right now.
Miller does get the spot back from Moss. But wow, things are heating up here in the GTOs. I'm kind of amazed that Franco Scurry's got as much pace as he does today. This is a driver that has improved a lot since we saw him come in. He was usually a little bit farther down in the pack when he first joined this Camel Series, now fighting for podiums here today.
Yeah, and while they're doing... Wow, oh, look at this. That's Reed Miller off track in the background, significantly off track, and that's our leader going through. This is some dangerous stuff for everybody involved. So that allows Alex Moss to go by, and we're going on board with Reed as he tries to recover.
Yeah, that was a self-made mistake. Oh boy, that was exciting with Albrecht as well. This above shot, if we could back up a bit, this is a perfect way to see all the action. And Reed Miller just swinging out wide and off to the left here. Albrecht is going to barely eke through on the inside of Moss.
Yeah, Reed Miller just staying on the outside there, knowing that the leader was coming through. He was going to be in trouble there. Now, if we could actually stay with this for a moment, we just had a wreck with Aitor Sintes Guindo and a couple of the other GTPs as they were trying to go past one of the GTOs.
Yeah, this is a big incident. It looks like Olsen got involved in it. It was a 3-wide situation, and that was, what GTO was that? That was Nocera.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations that the GTOs are just not prepared for. We're going to take a look at this. He was actually holding them up going through the corner, and then the GTPs decided to split the GTO, and the GTO didn't know where to go. And then he clips the back of Aitor, and that sends him around, and then, wow, all of the GTPs ended up wrecking out of it.
I mean, it looks like bowling pins, essentially. Martin Krejcik was the third one involved in that. He was the one that clipped Olsen. And what this did, who managed to sneak by, seeing if any of the... No, I guess no prototypes really gained position putting through. But let's head back to our GTOs. Scurry is still challenging for that second place from Esko Letaniemi.
Yeah, he is, and he's doing a great job hanging on to the back of Letaniemi. Letaniemi had about 5/10 on him in the qualifying times, but Franco just staying in that draft and staying consistent. But look at the exit that Esko is getting out of these corners. He's got that setup dialed in with the balance between the four-wheel drive and how much brake bias he's got in. So as you can see, Franco sliding through the corners, but that actually can be a strategy if you want to use it to get more speed coming out of the corners.
But how much does that hurt the tires, though? We often have to talk about that. It's a relatively cool day today, but over the course of the race, he could lose out. And Fabian Newgluth, just behind him, had a spin. Don't need to go to it. Just a single car incident in the GTPs.
Yeah, with the air temp at 74, track temp at 79. Not much wind today, only 7 miles an hour, but it's a gamble. It's one of those things that you have to be worried about if you're pushing it very hard, but Franco and Esko are both doing it, so it's very difficult as we're on board.
Yeah, we've jumped over to Albrecht now, the number 3, up to 5 seconds ahead of Fabian Gerber at this point. He's certainly had the measure of Fabian. This has been just awesome to watch. Justin really re-rack and try and challenge Fabian. Now it's just unfortunate that Justin is another driver who hasn't competed all that much this season compared to previous, hence why he is not in the hunt for the championship. And
yeah, unfortunately, he just has had some serious, some different variety of issues that's kept him from racing, and it's awesome to see him back out here and dominating as much as he is.
speaking of domination, Dennis Neidhart, the other one that's dominating the field. If you think a 5-second gap is big, try 10 seconds, double that, and Letaniemi has been gapped just that much in the first half of this race. This is essentially Dennis's Blues, which based on what we saw in the qualifying, we're not too shocked by this, but Dennis is grasping the opportunity with both hands to potentially lead the points after today is over.
Yes, he is. It's a good opportunity to do that. And as we're talking about his opportunity to lead the points, Reed Miller's trying to make up some of his own, trying to chase down Alex Mas in the 4th position. These two still are inseparable as they go through the downhill section once again.
You know, one thing we haven't talked about, Franco Scurry's up in 4th as well in the points, and with him riding in 3rd, he could potentially make up a lot of ground on Lake and Hagner himself. Since it's 131 points for Lake and 105 for Hall, or for Scurry, rather.
I don't believe he's going to be able to get past Phil Lake, but it could be very close with him in the position that he is in 3rd. I gotta apologize to Franco. I wasn't expecting him to run as high as he is, but his impressive run definitely is going to net him a lot of points if he's able to hold on.
Yeah, it's 25 for a win. And they're, and Moss and Miller are starting to reel in Scurry, though, so he's not out of the woods. He could find himself in a little bit of a battle here to try and retain this 3rd place. I believe it gets you 18 points for that, so that'll still get him at least, it'll close the gap significantly to both Lake and Hagner. Granted, he will lose a little ground to Neidhart.
And if he gets those 18 points, I would provisionally put him above it, but we have to talk about drop points, and that's when things get a little bit more complicated. But those should come into play, I believe, either next round or the round after, so we'll know more then.
Yeah, we'll keep track of it and keep you up to speed as we continue to watch from above, with Franco Scurry being chased by Moss in that gray car, the chorus car that you see, and Reed Miller behind him in the red and white machine.
Yeah, these three are the closest battle on track right now, and they're all within the draft of each other, but they're all too far away from each other to really make a move. Franco Scurry is going to be the one who's going to get the most pressure, but they also have the GTP of Laust Olsen, who's going to get into the middle of this mix as they go over the top of the...
Olsen's going to be able to split 2 of them at least, and that's between Moss and Miller. And he's got to wait patiently. Again, he could interrupt the battle, and that could offer an opportunity to either Moss or Miller to try and snag a position. They're also being chased here. That's Sintez Gallindo coming in as they almost make contact. Olsen getting a little bit rude trying to get through here.
Yeah, that's not going to make Alex Moss very happy, but he's still right behind Franco Scurry, so it hasn't deterred him at all. Heitor Sintez Gallindo has gained a lot of time on Laust Olsen, though, and look at this, Alex Moss looking to the inside with Franco Scurry, and they almost both of them lost it through the corner. This is very close.
Yeah, and this gives a great chance for Alex because he's right on top of him, but he's not going to try it here into Fanyees. He's going to bide his time. He knows that he's going to have a great run if he stays with it, coming up towards Blanchemont and the bus stop. Just holding station, riding in the tire tracks behind the Italian. And, oh, this is looking extremely good. Oh, but he starts to fall back a little bit. Looks for the launch. He gets a fantastic run. Here he goes. Needs a little bit of slipstream, but not much of it because he gets that great bit of momentum off the corner. He gets forced around the outside, but that doesn't matter. Alex Moss finds himself on the podium.
We haven't seen a lot of Alex Moss, but I am genuinely...
no! Lead change in the GTPs. Justin Albrecht challenged by Fabian Gerber, and Gerber's going to get it. What happened here?
Justin had a spin is what happened, Joe. This happened coming into the final portion of the lap.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. Out of Stavolo 2. Wow, he did a beautiful recovery. I'm not sure if we can catch this. Maybe about a minute and a half ago. Let's see if we can
I
pull
have
up the
never
replay.
seen a GTP driver save it like he did. It was just right before that, just a little bit before that, Justin Albrecht had his spin.
Yeah, about 20 seconds before this. Here we go. Yes, this is perfect. This is just incredible. Now, granted, he still lost the lead in the end, but what a cool head. He was completely pointed backwards, and he whipped it back around in time to keep it going without coming to a halt. Credit to the number 3.
Then that allows Fabian Gerber to get by. Justin did what he could to block it off, but Fabian just got a better run. And as they went through the bus stop chicane, it was side by side with the two of them, almost side by side with the two of them. And then Justin was not able to get a good launch off the corner, and this allowed Fabian to get by.
Yeah, we're not missing anything right now. It's still Albrecht behind as we watch this replay. This is where we'll see the pass coming down the Kamel Straight. Just stayed patient. Gerber knew he had the slipstream. And once it's over, we'll want to come back live because now they're coming up to Kamel in real time as well. Just a great launch up and over the crest, and that's all he needed.
And it's happening again. It's a rinse and repeat, this time with Justin Albrecht as we come back live. Justin on the outside this time. You're not looking at a replay. This is live with Justin on the outside. Fabian Gerber outbreaks him, though, into the corner. Impressive stuff from both of these drivers.
This is where Albrecht needs that extra speed he was showing over Fabian Gerber. But I doubt that Fabian's going to make this easy. For 15 more minutes, he's got to play defense and keep the number 3 behind him. We ride on board with Justin, seeing through his windscreen and feeling exactly what he feels.
Yeah, Justin's going to not be feeling too great about that spin, but the nice thing about it is that it wasn't a stroke of luck. That's one of those things you kick yourself about, but it's not as deflating as if you get hit by a car or if you get wrecked up because of multi-class racing. So Justin's going to have his foot down trying to catch Gerber right now.
We might have a pass for third in the GTOs. So let's head over to Alex Moss and Reed Miller because they're getting ready to come up the Kamel Straight. Miller's going to have the draft on Moss, looking to try and get this spot back. He's since overtaken Scurry. We didn't get to cover that with all the action going on as he starts to reel him in, but he runs out of straightaway.
Yeah, Miller is not close enough to Moss, he's just struggling a little bit to get the power off the corner. Alex Moss, though, is just really quite impressive on his corner exits. But what he isn't able to do is rotate through the corner. See how much speed Reed Miller carries through the center of the corner, how close he can get to the back, but then Alex just takes off on exit. So that's what I love about Open Setup Series, is seeing the difference in setups and how they can benefit each other over the course of the lap.
You know, I can't fail to notice that this is a Miller High Life car versus a Coors
Alex
Light
is off
car
track.
as he starts to go wide. And that's all he needed. Reed Miller slips through, spying the opportunity, and doesn't need asking twice.
No, but expect Alex Moss to challenge him because of his good corner exits. But Reed Miller, Mr. Consistency here, just driving a solid race with no real challenge. But we do need to go back to the lead of the GTPs because they're about to catch up to a very tight battle going on in the GTO class.
And they just went by a spin from Mike Reuter. Don't need a replay, but Reuter had an off and thankfully let them through. Going back and forth through these GTOs. Albrecht closes in mid-corner through No Name, but starts to lose out. Will we see the same down through Puhan? Has he got a little bit more wing into that thing? Just not able to stay with it.
Yeah, the challenge for Justin is he's losing a lot of his front aerodynamic efficiency in the dirty air of Fabian Gerber ahead of him. So this is becoming a very hard challenge for him to stay back there, and he's starting to burn off his front tires. So unless he can get a run, he might have to back off in order to save a little bit of time. As they catch up to the back of Pablo Suarez in 11th place as a lapped GTP. This is one of the first of them that they've really had to deal with, and this could really shake things up. And speaking of shaking things up, it looks like
I was going to say a whole different ball game as we look at the battle going on here between Olsen and Sintez Galindo side by side through No Name is no easy feat, and that's going to give Galindo the inside, but he's not willing to take it. He breaks early into the corner.
Yeah, Galindo and Olsen really have been battling ever since we saw them go by that battle with Reed Miller and Alex Moss, and they're still going at it here. Aitor Sintez, has not been able to do it, but Moss and Miller, it looks like it's heating up as well.
Still right in line with him, and now they've got Kitty Ingstrom, who's actually laps down on them, trying to stay patient and not break up this battle. He's going to be able to get through one.
Justin just had a huge moment in going through Eau Rouge and Radion. We should get a replay on this. This was really dangerous.
Yeah, he was coming up with Pedro Diaz in front of him. He thought maybe he could sneak through, but Diaz had the same idea as him. You can see both of them went off track, and that caused a big slowdown penalty for Justin.
And right here, look at how tight that is between him and the lap car. So that's a big trouble for him. He's now 3.8 seconds behind Fabian Gerber because of that incident.
A few moments, I think Justin was appreciative of the paved runoff through there, as he had plenty of space to save the car. Unfortunately, it's 4 seconds up to Fabian Gerber now, so he's going to have to put the afterburners on at this point.
Man, Joe, this race has flown by. We're already within 10 minutes to go as we take a look back at the battle between Reed Miller and Alex Moss. Alex has fallen off just a little bit now, but this race has just flown by.
Less than 10 minutes to go for Reed Miller. Try and hold off Alex Moss for that third position. For all the praise that we had heaped on Franco Scurry, unfortunately, he has lost out ever since he got overtaken. Couldn't keep up the paces. Has fallen to fifth, a whole 4 seconds back from this battle that we're watching on screen. There you get glimpses of him in the background. Up and through Eau Rouge, it looks like Moss has dropped a little bit too far back to do anything here.
Ooh, bad exit from Reed Miller, though. This might give an opportunity to Moss as he's coming onto the straight. I don't think he's quite close enough, but we'll see whether he takes the risk. He's going to take it. Here we go.
Down to the inside. No defense from Reed Miller. At least if he did, it was way too late. Still, he's late on the brakes, and he's able to fend him off. Just not quite enough for Alex Moss, the Iberian driver, still putting immense pressure on the number 10.
Alex Moss is doing an amazing job. Look at him look to the inside. He's really making Reed have to think about every single one of his entries and exits. This is great racecraft from Alex Moss, really putting the pressure on Reed Miller right now.
Oh, way off into the AstroTurf, though, using that four-wheel drive to as great effect as he can. That dirty torque car is trying to hold on for dear life, and Reed Miller retains the third place, but Alex Moss poking his nose back and forth, taking early entries, trying to get into the head of the number 10.
He's doing a great job of doing it. You can see Reed Miller blanching under the pressure a little bit, looking to go a little wide there. Look at him. Reed Miller's focusing on exits. He can see where Alex Moss is strong and is trying to make sure that Alex does not get an opportunity. This is a great battle between these two.
Out and off of Stavolo, they're going to get a small interruption from Krejcik. Where will he catch them? Because that could be important, depending on if he tries to blow through Blanchemont. He is going to catch them there, but he sees the battle. He backs off. Great heads up by Martin. Now he's going to get a chance to clear through.
And if he clears both of them, this is good news for Alex Moss. He's not quite going to be able to do it. It's really close between the two of them, but Alex is not going to be able to get an opportunity to get a good exit here. Neither is Reed, but Reed gets a better one. They are fighting tooth and nail right now.
Wow, Reed just about slid the car into Martin Krejcik there. He was really having to get onto the binders to keep from making contact. This is all for third place. If you're just joining us in this GTO class, the leader is way up there. Dennis Neidhart is now 17 seconds ahead of the next car back, and Gerber leads by still about 4 over Albrecht in the GTPs. But we got another one going for Alex Moss. And they're going to go 3 wide potentially here. He's going to split the middle. That is one of our Nissans. That is Sebastian Mark, who manages to get through, but they're starting to top out. He uses the better braking, the better downforce to leave them be. Oh, but a mistake from Moss.
And this is going to give Reed Miller an opportunity to try and get underneath, but Alex Moss is able to hang on to it, and Reed is just going to wait until a better time. He knows that he's got a couple of more Kamel straights to go, so probably 2 more, so he's going to have another opportunity at this. So if Reed Miller can just hang on to the back of Alex Moss, he might be able to do the same thing going into the next lap. Wow, Alex is sliding quite a bit out of these corners now.
A lot of mistakes being made between these two drivers, but that's giving us quite a bit of excitement. And Reed Miller, who closes in once again, tries to set him up. He's been strong on the corner exits. Could that be the thing that gives him the position back? not out of Puhan. He stays behind Alex Moss as they get approached by Fabian Gerber, our leader in the GTPs.
If this holds him up too much, this might give an opportunity to Justin Albrecht, who's still 3.5 seconds behind. Oh no, contact! That's dangerous. That lost Reed Miller past Alex Moss, but how much damage has it done to Fabian Gerber?
Yeah, that was right to the corner of the car. Suspension damage is always a huge danger. And once again, they're going to go 3 wide, not quite. Alex Moss was trying to go around the side that was blocked off by Reed Miller, making sure to cover off any opportunity. Down through Francorchamps, Moss a little bit too wide, and that cost some time.
So Fabian Gerber lost about a second and a half to Justin Albrecht. So Gerber, he's doing okay right now. I don't think he's got too much damage on that left rear, but you can see how close it is. Justin Albrecht is now within 2 seconds to Fabian. And so that battle's not over yet. They have 4.5 minutes to go. That's about 2.5 laps.
Yeah, can't see any damage on the right side, but on the left, he's got a little bit, it looks like. Not sure if that's related to what we saw before. And Albrecht is really in a hurry because once again, he takes the off track just to keep his speed up to get by Lettiani. But we've got to watch this battle on screen because Reed Miller being hounded by Alex Moss, who takes a little bit of a look from way far back, didn't think that was going to happen. Still trying to get into the head of that number 10. Doesn't work quite this time. Oh, maybe it does because Miller sends it in deep into Lacombe.
Oh man, Reed Miller, they're both at the edge. Oh, look at that. Reed losing a little bit out. I think he might have missed the shift. This allows Alex Moss to get into the inside. He's going to dive down to the inside. Contact between the two. That's some door-to-door contact between two GTO drivers. And Reed Miller is now behind Alex again.
And they've got Pablo Suarez just behind. Is he going to be able to get by both of them? They head through Puhan here, and he's just going to be able to squeak through, trying to find the apex. Alex Moss made extremely slow with Antti Lepisto now trying to break them up, and Lepisto picks the wrong side of the track for Alex Moss, who has to compromise his exit.
It also compromises Alex Moss's entry into the next corner, since allows Reed Miller to get right back to the bumper. This shows you just how much of a give and take these multi-class battles are, and with Alex Moss and Reed Miller having to navigate these guys, they're doing an amazing job of doing that and staying on pace. This is impressive stuff.
I wonder how much is going to be left of these cars too. Not only they're wringing everything out of it just driving the track, but we've seen multiple contacts with each other and with other classes between these two. Now for Francorchamps once again, Alex Moss has a bit of a gap over Reed Miller. This is about the most breathing space they've had between them for at least half the race.
This is the most they've had, but Reed Miller's still well within the draft of Alex Moss. If he can get a good exit heading up towards Eau-Rouge and Radion, he's going to be able to get a good run. But this is definitely the most distance that Alex has had.
Stay with this fight, but the leaders across the line with 2 to go now. And Fabian Gerber is looking pretty solid. He's increased it to about 2.5 seconds. All right, what can they do on the run up this time? Moss has got to be solid. He's got to get a good exit out of here. Exits have been Reed Miller's forte for part of the time, but not all the time. He's pushing it. He gets a decent one, but so does Moss. Here comes Steve Bycroft, 4th place in the GTPs. He gets 1. I don't think he's going to get 2, though. He's going to try to get 2. He's going to stick his nose in, and this is not what Moss wants in this situation.
Reed was expecting a wreck. He backed off significantly there. He was expecting the two of them to get together, but that has allowed Reed Miller right up to the back bumper of Alex Moss now. That is unfortunate for Moss.
There goes that lead, disappeared in just a flash of an eye. And that's the sort of racing you see here in Kamel. You can't count on those gaps coming in handy. You need big gaps to try and get yourself safe from everybody behind. With only a minute left, that white flag is coming out very soon. On board with Reed Miller chasing for 3rd.
It's possible they might not get the white this time. They might cross the line with a couple seconds to go. We'll see what the iRacing stewards decide to do here, but Fabian Gerber hoping that white comes because Justin Albrecht has gained about 7/10 in the last lap.
I think he will be able to get across the line because we got about 40 seconds left out of the bus stop here. That's Albrecht that you see in the background, 2 seconds behind, giving chase and hurrying, hustling to see if he can get within range to go on the attack. And yes, we will definitely have the white flag as there's plenty of time to get across the line here for Fabian Gerber. Albrecht can do up and out of Radion. Got it down to 1.9, but this is a little too far back here.
Yeah, no, Justin is going to have to hope that Fabian gets held up by some traffic. Otherwise, he's not going to have an opportunity as they're on the white flag lap with him 2 seconds behind. He has to hope for some unfortunate events for Fabian Gerber, but we still have a battle between Reed Miller and Alex Moss, and Reed's got a good run this time.
Very good run, but again, they've got to worry about the exit of Radion. And just behind him, that's Fabian Newbluth back.
Oh, Alex Moss blew it!
Gonna go 3 wide. He tries to pinch him in, but there's just not enough space there. Still, Reed Miller trying to pull a little bit of a slipstream off of Fabian Jungbluth. It helps a tiny bit. It's going to be side by side. It's a drag race down into Lacombe. And Alex Moss is able to hold them as well. Oh my goodness. That was the number 25 in the GTOs that nearly ran into him.
Yeah, that was Ferdinand Frankengool, and he really almost locked it up a little bit too much there. But Reed Miller has got a really desperate situation now. He doesn't have a good opportunity to pass Alex Moss before the end of the lap. Unless he can get a good exit going into the bus stop chicane, he's going to have to outbrake him there. That's going to be unfortunate.
You have some time to stay with this. Let's watch and see. Puan has elicited mistakes from both drivers so far through this race. Are they going to stay clean? So far, so good, but look how close behind Reed Miller is staying. He's making sure that he's got a chance if there's one slip up from Moss.
But Joe, we got to go back to Fabian Gerber because he's about to go through La Source and cross the line here. Fabian Gerber coming down, an amazing race from him. Good consistency, taking advantage of Justin Albrecht's misfortune, and he's going to finish the race winning in the GTV class.
Albrecht just not quite close enough. Back to this battle, though. Oh, look at how close Reed Miller is. He is going to be able to take this if he wants it, if he's brave, but I don't think Neidhart is going to make it easy. Out and through Blanchemont, what's it going to be? That's going to be the deciding corner, but we won't be able to see because Dennis Neidhart, who we haven't hardly showed at all, is going to take a whopping victory here today and possibly the points lead with this win.
Reed Miller outbraked himself going into the corner, and that's going to allow Alex Moss to make it through. That was a good attempt from Reed, but Alex Moss just caught him out, and now Reed Miller's into the wall! This is going to allow Franco Scurry to go to 4th place!
Wow, Franco Scurry thanking his lucky stars to get a 4th here and get those precious few points to help him in the championship. Reed Miller actually DNFs. Reed Miller has taken a tow.
He's not taking a tow, he's gone, Joe.
Too many incidents. Did he DQ? No, he had to have had a penalty first.
I don't believe he DQ'd Joe. Here comes the replay of the incident going into the chicane here. We're going to see it. Alex Moss just breaks early, catches Reed Miller by surprise, and Reed outbrakes himself going into the bus stop chicane.
Covers off the inside. Neither of them really are using the full width of the track, though. Reed Miller with that off. Let's watch and see what happens. Let's stay with this. Just gets it he gooses it too hard, hits the wall, and I wonder if that took him, yeah, he takes a tow. I wonder if that took him over the incident limit in terms of penalty, and he couldn't serve the penalty in time. So maybe he just elected to take the tow. So let's go to break here. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. Round 9 of the Kamel GT series was wild even by the standards of Kamel GT, but Fabian Gerber managed to take the win. I wouldn't have thought that by halfway through this race. Justin Albrecht had the measure of him, but once he had his own issues, made a spin of his own making, he couldn't hold off Fabian making the pass, and once Fabian was through, he never gave the lead back. Justin took second today. Antti Lepisto with third is going to help himself in the championship, with Steve Bycroft finishing P4, Fabian Jungbluth rounding out the top 5. Laust Olsen took 6 ahead of Vintes Guindo. Those two battled the entire race pretty much. We didn't get to show them because we had battles high up in both the other classes, but big credit to them. A lot of respect between them as they were congratulating each other after the race. Kramer took an 8th place, with Sebastian Mark finishing 9th, first car lap down, and Pablo Suarez 10th. Krejcik, Ingstrom, Ruder, Schlacker, and Gerber, Tobias Gerber, all had problems down at the back of the field in the GTPs.
Dennis Neidhart takes the win in the GTO class, a commanding victory. He was quite a ways ahead by the end of the race. Esko Letaniemi pulled away from Alex Moss, Franco Scurry, and Reed Miller in that second position, securing him second. Alex Moss, with a last lap battle with Reed Miller, was able to play the strategy game and get that position, with Franco Scurry passing Reed on the side of the road just at the end to get fourth. We have Hideki Koivisto, who came home in 5th, with Joseph Erlbach coming home in 6th, who was battling with Pedro Diaz for quite a bit of that race. Then we have Alexandro Nocera coming home in the 7th position, with Johnny Bell in 8th. Reed Miller came home 9th after DNFing that race. Then Giulio Forcolin comes home 10th, and Ferdinand Frankengool comes home in the 11th position.
Let's see, the ones that I mentioned are the GTPs who DNF'd, but Fabian Gerber with another win. Fabian, congratulations on the victory, but it looks like you had to use all of your trickery, all of your might to be able to hold on to this one, because once you got back past Justin, he was keeping that pressure on.
Oh yes, definitely. It was really hard to keep him behind. He was also a bit quicker. And then I had some misunderstanding, let's put it like this, with an Audi, and I'm not sure if I lost some top speed because of that. I don't think so really. But traffic was on my side at the end of the race, so I could take the him home. It was really a sweet one this time.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to work that traffic to get these victories. You and Justin had a bit of a one-off here, I would say, because rest of the season it's been Iamaki and Lepisto that we've been watching leading the championship. Does this feel a little bit like old times between you two?
Yes, very much so. It's always nice to battle him. He, even though we had a little touch early in the race, because he came on the curb and slid a bit into my car, but nothing happened. It was great racing him always. He was the faster man today, but I had 2 sets, one really fast one I thought, and a safer one, and I took the safer one because this is my worst season ever, so I really wanted to finish this one no matter where, and it actually paid off because the car felt great in the end still.
Going to be a little bit of a different beast next week with Suzuka. Are you looking forward to running next week, or will you be able to show up again next week?
Unfortunately not, but I look even more forward to Monza 10K the week after, which is going to be a fantastic race. I hope at least. It's a draft battle. It's really fun. Also really fun to watch.
All right. Well, we look forward to it as well, because Monza usually gives us a thrill. Congratulations. That was our winner, Fabian Gerber, here in the GTPs. And we've got second place finisher in the GTOs, Esko Letaniemi.
Yeah, Esko, fantastic finish for you today, and a good battle between you, Alex Moss, and Franco Scurry, as well as Reed Miller in the middle of that race. How tight was it between you guys in that middle portion of the race?
Oh yes, hi everybody. It was tight, and they pushed me to try better for the race, and there was some press behind me, but it goes easier when the race was going forward.
Yeah, definitely, and we're watching on screen one of those attempted passes there from Alex Moss. And Esko, you how did you manage navigating the traffic today? Because it seemed like you were one of the drivers who had the least amount of trouble with traffic passing you today.
Well, I always try to take it easy, but sometimes Nissan comes from nowhere, and there are issues sometimes. But today it went well. I'm happy with that.
So Esko, going into next week, we have Suzuka. Are you planning on joining us for that race, and are you looking forward to it, or is it one of those tracks that you are just trying to get through?
It's new track for me. I'm so newbie on this series and iRacing at all. I have to learn it from zero.
Well, Esko, fantastic work. I don't believe we've talked to you before. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go tonight?
Absolutely. I want to thank very much Joni Hagner, who had taught me so much, and I think I'm student still. I can say I have been Hagner's Alien Academy, and that's good for me.
Well, fantastic finish today, Esko, and we look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Thanks for talking to us tonight.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
That was Esko Letaniemi, our second place finisher in the GTO class. Joe, back to you.
You're going to have a teacher. Joni Hagner is hard to do better than him, honestly. So that's obviously why we're seeing Esko so quick lately. We're going to close up, though, with a big thank you to the Kamel GT series for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But a big thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to Jumalon, who provides our wonderful music to see the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel. Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store. The link is in the description below. It's gsrc.storenv.com. And also make sure and subscribe to our channel. Very easy to do so. Just click the big red button that says subscribe. As we mentioned, heading over to Japan for the next round. That'll be Suzuka, Saturday, February 15th at noon Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.